food and wine here at Epcot officially started a little while ago, admittedly, but we are now just making it out here. We've been really busy with horror nights and trips and media events and just a whole lot of stuff. So I'm very excited to check it out. I've heard there's some really great options throughout this year's event, some not so great stuff, but we're gonna walk around, taste a bunch of things, get a bunch of treats and food items and all that good stuff. So I hope you spend a little bit of time and experience it with us. So Food and Wine this year at Epcot does run from August 28th to the 22nd of November, right before the holidays, and then that's when they kick off Festival of the Holidays here at Epcot. One of the later Christmas events that do start here at the parks, but it's always one of my favorites, if not my favorite down here. But we're gonna be heading again all the way around to World Showcase, checking out all the food booths possible all throughout the night. So we first off are starting on the right side of the park with a booth over here next to Community Hall, festival favorites that did just recently open at the time of filming this video. So a few different odd options over here. Sorry, it's loud. There's a potato pierogi and a curry spice fried cheese that I do not think is included in the cheese thing at the end of the book. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there is a frozen s'more beverage that's a chocolate milkshake with marshmallow syrup topped with mini marshmallows and graham crackers. So I could see that being pretty popular. So as of right now, Communicore Hall is closed. So not being used for this event. I believe it was still Cool Kids Summer until very recently. I would say we're not going to be seeing anything else in Communicore Hall until Festival of the Holidays, unless they surprise everybody. But I would see no reason to not just hold off until Festival of the Holidays, because you'll only have something there for probably about a month by the time they get it open. Backtracking a little bit towards the land, we do have Earth Eats over here off to the left side. Here they do have a red wine braised beef short rib and a lemon poppy seed cake. I know the lemon poppy seed cake is a favorite. I don't know about the red wine beef short rib. But they're over here next to the land if you're interested. So as always, make sure you're picking up a festival passport at the front. I always say that. Just wanted to quickly show you. It's the Emil's fromage montage. Oh my, I hope I'm saying that correct. It seems like it's the same exact menu items as last year that I personally do not love. I did like a lot of these things last year, but I don't know if I'm gonna be doing this year just because the kind of point of me coming to these festivals is trying new things. So I don't know if I want the same things as I got last year when I did it. But again, you get 5 of these items on the left. You get a stamp for each one. Then your 6th stamp, you get a special treat at the end. But usually has some sort of souvenir aspect to it. Sometimes a souvenir cup. Sometimes like Flower and Garden, it was like a treat, but there was also like a pack of seeds, wildflower seeds that you can grow. So sometimes they're fun, but again, I just don't know if it's super worth it this time around for me. As we continue from the land, coming into the few food booths they have in this in between the Imagination Pavilion, we do have Bramblewood Bites. I just have a grilled cider brined pork tenderloin, a cast iron seared river trout, and cast iron roasted Brussels sprouts and root vegetables. I do like the look of this booth over here. But again, this is in that in between next to the playground that again they do redo, and it seems like this whole area is themed to the same thing that I don't know the movie. I feel like I'm going crazy, but it's all wooded theme this year. I will say the gnats around this place. I don't know if anyone else has been here recently, but around the bodies of water. I don't know if it's because of the lack of rain and the possibility of rain tonight, but they're everywhere. Our next booth is not very far, same area, just walk around the play area, and you have the Mill and Mold. This does have 4 different items. That's a lot for a food booth. They have butternut squash and ginger bis, a freshly baked carrot cake, fall fruit cheesecake, and they also do have an apple cinnamon and caramel mini churro sundae. I think this might be something I'm starting with tonight because I've heard very good things, so we might give that a try. So from Milled and Mold, we did get the apple cinnamon and caramel mini churro sundae. You can see right here without the gnats getting all over it. We did look it up, and it did say this whole area is actually original characters, not themed to anything that did start back in 2024 that I did not realize. So cool that Disney's doing something different and not just IPing in this area. So all these characters and all this area is original and originally themed. So I want to start by saying, if you don't know my rankings, so the way I rank things is whether or not I would get it again, if I would get it once, or if I would not get it at all. I would definitely get that again. It was very good. The textures were really good on it. It was pretty unique. I will say the middle of like the churro pieces, very hot. So just watch out for that. The outside's gonna be cooled by the ice cream. Middle's still gonna be steaming. So if you like anything about that sounded good, I will say it was very good. One of the better things I've had at a festival in the last couple of years. Another booth we have over here is Forest and Field. That's obviously in between World Showcase and that last booth we were just at. Again, original character theme that I do really enjoy that Disney's starting to do that again with some of these events. They have an autumn chili here. They have a pumpkin mascarpone ravioli, and they also do have a ciabatta sandwich. I'm gonna let you guys read that one. You know how I am with reading. It doesn't ever go well. Some stuff there looks not too bad. Again, I'm relatively of a picky eater, so don't come to me for the most insightful food opinions. Also, whether or not I'll like something. We do see a pumpkin up there, and I imagine that is for the scavenger hunt this time around. We might try to do it at some point, but we'll see what we can get done.
There's ice cream.
Also here at this World Showcase, they do have for the event a liquid nitrogen frozen pumpkin cheesecake mousse. So if you're looking for that and you're confused, not at a festival booth, just at World Showcase here. Obviously one of the most popular booths, and one that is never changing apparently, is going to be Canada, here with the cheddar and bacon soup with the pretzel roll. And then they obviously do have the filet mignon that is very popular. They've raised it in price a lot over the years. It is now $10. I do remember back in like when we first started coming to the festival, it being closer to the $6 or $7. But it obviously is very good. You get a little bit of the taste of the really good steaks they have here in the Canada Pavilion down in the cellar that is right down there. I've never been inside, but one day we will take you guys there, hopefully. And obviously the cheddar soup, I've heard very good things, but again, it's Florida. Right now it's actually not too bad out, but it does look like it's gonna storm and wind's coming off of it. But most of the time it's still hot around this time of year, so I think the soup is usually kind of a weird pick, just because, again, it's still really hot. Next up, we made our way over here into France, to the France booth that, again, is just right over the bridge. As soon as you come over, I'm not even going to try to pronounce any of these names. I'm just going to describe them. So one is a spiced brioche with 3 cheese Monterey filling that I've heard decent things about. One is a trio of escargot bites in croissant dough served with garlic parsley dip. I would never eat that. There is a red wine braised short ribs with potato puree. That seems like the same thing they had over at the other booth, but whatever. And then there's a vanilla creme brulee with a blueberry lime compote. That sounds delightful, but I did just have a treat. I have not eaten any actual food, so I'm gonna skip on that for right now. Next up, we made our way over here to the Brazil booth that is between France and Morocco. Again, not gonna try to embarrass myself by pronouncing any of these. So if you know them, leave them down below how to pronounce them. Maybe I'll get it right next time. One is a black beans and pork belly with a Brazilian nut pesto, featuring Ben's Original long graze rice. I don't know why it's just Ben's Original, but it's there. Then obviously they had the Brazilian cheese bread that is a fan favorite at this booth. I've not loved it in years past. I've always thought it was okay Brazilian cheese bread. I've had better. But some people really, really like it. So if you like it, no offense, but it's just not my favorite I've ever had. So next up, actually right next to Brazil, brand new food booth to have right over here. They have a Belgium food booth. Does not look Belgian at all, but it's where the Belgium food booth is this year. They have a beer braised beef, but man, they have a lot of braised beef this year. And then they do have both the Belgian waffles that are usually some of my favorite. The Belgian waffle with the berry compote during the summer is fantastic, especially when it's really hot out. It's like really a hot and cold sensation that I really do enjoy. So if you like that kind of thing, definitely check that out. One thing that's pretty new to the events, but I always like to make sure you know that there is stuff back here. They do have stuff in the Tangerine Cafe back here in Morocco. Right now they do have a different Moroccan wraps that they have a chicken one, a spiced lamb one, and a plate-based falafel. They also do have a stone-baked Moroccan bread with assorted dips. They also do have a pistachio cake. So once again, don't forget that this is technically got food items back here in the middle of Morocco. Because again, I feel like that is pretty new and people forget about it a lot. Considering there's no line and there's a line at every other food booth, I would say that's happening again. Over here in Greece, they do have plenty of items and it seems to be fairly popular. I did look at the first one. It is called Spanakopita. I had to look that up. Next one we're not going to figure out because it's similarly spelled. Moussaka, that's featuring Moussaka. Thank you. Moussaka. Moussaka. Thank you, kind stranger. There's also the griddled cheese back here and the lamb gyro. That is shaved lettuce, tomato, cucumber, relish, and a warm flatbread. Well, back here in Greece, again, this is between Japan and Morocco as soon as you leave Morocco. Next up is just barely past the Greek booth, right as you're entering Japan, obviously, the Japan booth. There is the teriyaki chicken bun, the Osakana karage, and then there also is beef wagyu don. So some different stuff I feel like over here. I do feel like the teriyaki bun is the norm, but I don't remember the karage and the beef wagyu. Maybe I'm wrong there. My memory's always bad, so care to remind me. One thing that I always think is interesting to tell you is up here, it does tell you when the booth was first introduced. The Japan booth was back in 1996, if you were interested. But they say that on all the booths. One thing I wanted to quickly mention, actually back here in Japan, they have added right outside the exit gift shop and next to what used to be, I believe, the sake stand that was right there, but is under construction. They've added a bunch of gachapon machines. I will say these are the new Bandai ones that I believe they're just now starting to build all over the place, but they, instead of doing like individual like coin-based ones, you just pay in the center one, they spin the one still, and then it comes out. I will say, outrageously expensive. Anywhere from about $9 to $20 for these gachapons, when basically anywhere else that's an actual gachapon, you're gonna be paying max like $5. In Japan, they're usually around that price, if not less. So we'll say very expensive, but if you want some gachapon, they do have some Chainsaw Man stuff. Obviously, Demon Slayer is really popular right now with the new movie. They also do have some Spy Family ones, and then they do have some just like animal ones. And then they obviously have plenty of Sanrio ones. So if you're interested in any of that, obviously go for it. But again, a little pricey for what I would consider an okay price for something like that. So as the storms continue to impede us, hopefully we'll get around before that happens. Over here, right at the start of the American Pavilion, they do have a huckleberry funnel cake that they always have over here. They usually have a unique funnel cake, so it's usually different every year. So this year, huckleberry. Over here is Eat to the Beat. Obviously you can hear it. We're going to try to talk over it, but it is pretty loud over here. Tonight is Evolution Motown, that I think might be a local band. I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. But they do have a lot of big bands. They do have tribute bands. They do have local bands. They do a lot of different ones. But if you like music in general, definitely come check this out. You'll definitely like it. There's obviously going to be some nights that are a lot busier than others. Then all the way towards the back of the American booth, there is, or not booth, country, there is the American booth that is Flavors of America. This is a newer booth, I wanted to point out. Just say 2023, so this is new. This has the Gulf Coast style seafood roll, New England slider, and a freshly baked chocolate pudding cake with a Kentucky bourbon caramel. I think I had that before, pretty good. Never had the New England slider, and I would never eat the seafood roll because I do not really love seafood. But if you're interested in any of that, again, always make sure you're checking towards the back of if you're looking for any food booth, usually it's a little bit nestled in if it's not on the walkway. So this one's just brought up to the back, right of the Great American Adventure, and obviously you can walk in next to the funnel cake space right there. So as the storms continue to approach, we continue on to Italy over here, obviously in front of Italy. Again, I'm not going to try to pronounce a lot of these. One is a pizza dough with pepperoni, mozzarella, and tomato sauce. That actually looks really good. I might get that. There's a tortellini with vodka. That's a 4-cheese tortellini with vodka sauce, Parmesan, and a chili oil. And then they do have a chocolate spuma, I think is how you pronounce it. It's a chocolate mousse with caramel sauce, espresso whip, cream, and a puffed rice. So the storms are very much fast approaching us, so I actually decided not to get anything at that booth. It is very long, but we're approaching Spain. That again is right here at the start of Germany, right as you pass out Italy. I will say once again, you do have to forgive me for this one, but they do have a trio de pindots. They have a dish with rock shrimp, bay scallops, and smoked mussels that I would never get because, again, not a big seafood person. And they do have a bisque cheesecake with orange sauce. So if you're interested in either of those things, including whatever that top one is, Spain, right here at the start of Germany. The doom is spelling on us, but here at the end of Germany, there is the Germany booth. Obviously, you can hear that. And the Alps booth. The Germany booth does have, it's a pasta gratin, that's like a potato thing with ham, onions, and cheese. They do have a bratwurst on a pretzel with some mustard and an apple strudel. Then over here at the Alps booth, that again is just right next to it, they do have the warmer cut Swiss cheese and Alpine ham, and they do just have the one without the ham too. And then they do have a dessert that is looks like a cake type thing with a cherry brandy, buttercream, fondant sugared almonds, and a cherry compote on it. I think that is new, and then look familiar to me. Oh, yeah, it's gonna be over for us in a minute. We're gonna pick up the pace a little bit. So over here at the refreshment outpost that again is between Germany and China, you're gonna find a berry spiced beef stew. I think I said that right. Impossible spicy sausage and a South African cream liqueur chocolate mousse. That is good. Yeah. And as you cross the bridge over into China, whoa, that was kind of cool. You do see a Remy up top if you're doing the little adventure thing. There's one little spoiler. There's a potato and pea samosa and a chicken tikka masala. And the India booth, again, is right here at the front of China. Then, of course, here at the end of the China pavilion, it is going to be China, but they have chicken dumplings with a house-made sweet and spicy sauce, a smoked duck bun, and Beijing Zhaojing noodles. I think those noodles are new, but I know the duck bun and the chicken dumplings have been here because I know they're favorites over here. Again, right at the end of China. As we're walking through Norway, I did just notice there's new construction walls over here. Could be upgrades to the food booth that was over here because it was usually pretty popular. For a while, they did have a few treat options, but they all got moved because the booth was too popular. But even with those treat items getting moved, it was a pretty popular beer spot. So could see upgrades there shortly, but I definitely think they want this done before the holiday season. So as soon as you're walking out of the Mexico food booth or pavilion, you come across the food booth for Mexico. A few different options here for savory. I'll let you guys read these ones, they're pretty long. One's a braised pork with atop a fried tortilla with a few different sauces on top. One is a fried tortilla filled with barbacoa beef and topped with salsa verde. And there also is a creamy Mexican custard with caramel sauce and toasted almonds. That is the flan. As you continue down the walkway past the Mexico, you can find Australia. The Australia booth does have a grilled bushberry spice shrimp skewer, roasted lamb chop, and a mixed berry pavlova. Maybe I'm saying that right. That looks good though. It's pavlova. It's country or crunchy mandarin shell with some berries and whipped cream. Even though it is going dark, I would show you the centerpiece here. I will say, pretty disappointed with the front and centerpiece and this middle one over here. They're just look really cheap and they're not as grand as years past. I mean, you look at Flower and Garden, they do big topiaries, a new one every year. And doing just a few little like plastic signs and stuff isn't really what I would call the standard. So that's kind of disappointing to see, but it is what it is. As soon as you come down the middle walkway and off to the right, you find Hawaii. Once again, sorry, it's getting darker, but this one's gonna have a slow roasted pork slider that I do believe that one's from years past and a favorite. The Hawaiian rice bowl, and then the pineapple cheesecake that I do like the pineapple cheesecake, but that is also from years past. And our final booth over here on World Showcase is Shimmering Sips. That does have a strawberry champagne trifle. And then they do have different alcoholic beverages, though notably this is where you'll pick up your completer treat at this left window here. No need to stand in the line out here, but it is just off to the left pickup window. It's where you pick up your treat once you get your 5 other items and finish that stand. With World Showcase, then we're heading towards the Odyssey. That is obviously Brewing Lab that it has been in the last couple of years. Again, another pumpkin. Looks like all off right above us there for when they start the pumpkin hunt. I think starts early October, I want to say. But this is always a popular spot. Well, they definitely heard everyone that they love the Muppets and especially the vibe in here, because this is definitely higher than it was last year. Lots more decorations along the sidewalls, a full lab over there that we'll check out in just a second. Lots of decorations, multiple screens and projection usage, and it looks like some sort of show that's going to happen right now.
Sorts of ingredients like these are wonders of science. Tart, tangy, tasty, and excellent conductors of electricity.
So it does seem like it might be multiple small different shows, but I thought it was really funny. I don't know if you could really see it. When Beaker got zapped, there was a safety first, and this lab has gone a certain amount of minutes without having an accident, and it was at 4 minutes, and then it went back down to 0. That was super funny. And here's a look at the temporary lab they set up over here. This is obviously Honeydew and Beaker from Muppets. This is their Muppets Lab experiments that they're doing on different wings and flavors. That's usually why the flavors in here are a little wild, but we'll check out what they got this year cooking up. So here's a look at the menu this year. They do have some similar ones, but some new ones. They have garlic Parmesan rings, Korean barbecue wings, unnecessarily spicy yet extremely tasty Carolina Reaper curry rings, Impossible chicken tenders, and they do have the fried pickle spears. Then for beverages-based experiments, they do have a frozen pomegranate and raspberry tea. They also do have the pickle milkshake that is a popular one, but I think that is disgusting. As the rains continue to drizzle on us, we are approaching our end here. Over here, they do have the fry basket booth. The fry basket this year has adobo yuca fries, and then the fry flight that has sea salt malt vinegar fries, truffle parmesan fries with a black truffle aioli, and a sweet potato casserole fries with cinnamon sugar, candied pecans, and marshmallow cream. And that's once again just across from Odyssey as you're heading towards Test Track. As you walk up to the path on the left side of that booth, up to the left, you do have Flavors from Fire. This is the grill food booth where they have the open grills out here. Here this year, they do have the Montreal-style burger slider that is Impossible beef with plant-based cheddar, tomato jam, bib lettuce, and plant-based garlic aioli on a sesame seed bun. They do have the risotto grilled beef skewers that are marbled potatoes with charred shallots, roasted baby peppers, and chimichurri. And then they also do have the smoked corned beef. The grilled beef skewers, I've heard they are very good. So here's a look at the beef skewers. I didn't get it personally because I don't think this would taste, or I don't think I would like the taste of it. But it is a pretty big portion size, so if you're looking for something a little bit bigger and you like how that sounds, definitely think this one looks pretty good. Then over here next to Creations, we do have 2 more food booths, as obviously you can see. They're not open, neither are they lit up. I'll talk about why I don't like this in a few minutes, but these do not open until September 28th, so we're a few days away from that as the time of recording this, probably closer as soon as you are watching this. But they have Coastal Eats, that is a food booth we had in the past, but a brand new one for this year, that is Gyozas of the Galaxy. And there's obviously a Guardians of the Galaxy booth pretty much over here next to it. Some lovely lighting I found over here, but I wanted to quickly talk about, we have gone through all the major food booths, but I wanted to talk about some other items they have throughout the event at non-food booth spots. I've of course picked a spot with the speaker pointing directly at me, so sorry. Over at Connections, they do have a French onion burger that I do believe is new, a chocolate bomb kuchen, maybe I can pronounce that, with a chocolate ganache and a whipped cream. They have a passion fruit cream slush. That all sounds new. I'm not sure about that, but that all sounds new. At Sunshine Seasons over in the land, they do have a Remy milkshake that is a strawberry cheesecake milkshake topped with a cookie, mini cheesecake, white chocolate Eiffel Tower, and a strawberry, just like a whole strawberry, I guess. That sounds wonderful, actually. I didn't know that was over there. Definitely will get that at some point throughout the event. Over in Germany at Summerfest, they do have a German onion cake with a caramelized onions, bacon, herbs, and savory custard. They have over in the American Adventure, inside Block and Hams, they do have a frozen chipotle, pineapple lemonade. And then over at Regal Eagle Smokehouse, they do have a cherry lime slush. So it's gonna officially wrap up my first little tour of this year's Food and Wine. Food and Wine, I think, is one of the better events, but I still like Flower and Garden more, but I do like it more than the art festival for food-wise. The food looks pretty good this year. Again, I'm just a picky eater, so don't take you too much, don't take my opinion too much into account why I didn't eat much tonight. I just don't like more unique foods. I always try to try new things, but I'm just not a big fan of trying new things. So if it looked good to you tonight, definitely come check it out. One big gripe though that I have with this year that I feel like is becoming more and more of a normal thing is they're not opening food booths until later in the event. The reason for that is, I think, fairly obvious. It's to get you coming back. They want you back at the event later on in its cycle because they know that if they open everything at once, people just come once or twice, get what they want, be done. But especially with the Gyozas of the Galaxy being a very hyped up food booth, very interested to see what it actually has on its menu when it opens here in just 5 days from now. I just find it a little bit of a cheap tactic to get you to come back. I understand they want you to come back, spend more money, but again, I just don't love that they're doing that. That's not something that has ever been normal in the past, but it seems to be more normal now. They started doing that with more and more booths, but now they've done it with 2 booths this year, and I don't like that. But let me know what you think. If you tried anything, let people know down below. Did you like something? Did you not like something? Avoid this, get that, all that good stuff. But thanks for watching. I hope this video brought a little more joy into your day, and we'll see you guys next time.